something that I think about is the fact that every culture, every people on the planet have an idea of the divine, right? Every culture on the planet has religion. People that want to go back to the basics of life, well, to be fully human is to be religious, because every people around the world are religious. Animals are not religious, right? If we want to be truly human, we're going to look at the rest of humanity and see that everyone believes in some religion. And then it gets to the point of, well, which God is the true God, for one, right? If there is a God, and if there are more than one gods, right? If there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 1,000 gods, right? Like the Romans and Greeks had the idea of. Well, we're proposing, for one, that there is only one God, and the reason being is because our definition of God is one that is, he's eternal, right? He's all-knowing, all-powerful, right? He exists in and outside of time and space, right? And if there were more than one God, in turn, they would destroy each other because they're both infinite, right? If you have two infinities, they're going to destroy each other, right?
Well, and you can't qualitatively have two infinities.
Exactly.
Because in order for something to be infinite, it's never ending. Well, if I have one infinite over here, and then all of a sudden there's somehow, some way, anything, whether it's infinite or not, that's other than this, then this isn't encompassing everything. Mm-hmm. So it implodes on itself. It's
right.
impossible to have more than one infinite being.
Right, and then the analogy is the infinite train cars, right? You can't have an infinite amount of train cars without an engine, a beginning, right? A first mover, right? Again, pulling from St. Thomas Aquinas, who had the 5 proofs for the existence of God for the listeners who want to look into that, right? And
absolutely.
In fact, I think he had 20 proofs, but 5 are the most common. And we're not going to jump into all those today. That's not the heart of our discussion, but we do recommend going into that deeper if the viewers or listeners want to. But we want to focus on the idea that the single point, right, that God, our definition of God is that he is the creator. He is the one that is the unmoved mover, right? And then if there were multiple gods, then there would be an infinite amount of train cars. Well, who created that God? Who created this God, right? And why is this one more powerful than the other one, right? Again, so that goes back to the Greek or Roman idea that, Zeus was in control of the skies, right? And Neptune of the seas, right? And the different gods that existed there in both Greek and Roman theology, if you will, right? That at that point, well, who created whom, right? And there has to be this ultimate creator, right? One that no one else created, that's all-powerful, that power and life and light and existence comes from, right? Because without which, you're going to have this, well, where did he get his power from, and why doesn't this God have that power, right? And so, with all that information in store, we can conclude, based on everything else that St. Thomas Aquinas deals with, that there is only one source of being, right? And that one source is the one God. And again, if you have an infinite, right, God, you're only going to have one infinite. You're not going to have multiple infinites, right? You're not going to have multiple all-knowing, right, beings